Ban.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to some more WePlay action. We have got EnemyGG versus Digital Chaos. I'm Llama Down Under, joined by Mott Pax. How you doing, Mott?
I'm doing good.
Radiant
Excellent.
team
Now, as you may have noticed, for those of you who have your eyes open, who can read, we do appear to have MSS standing in. Now, don't know, probably just standard in business, although as you all may know, rosters are open until the 27th of this month, I believe.
Dire team
And
ban.
with that, we're going to see Banana Slam Jammers also get burned right out.
Yeah, I think, well, it's kind of an exciting time, right? You know, random players show up here or there, questions run amok, who's where,
Radiant
everyone's a little
team
bit silent. There's espionage, it's great.
We
It's
have
like a spy
espionage.
thriller. I
I didn't know
assume
we had
so.
espionage.
Sabotage, probably.
Yeah. Oh, we've had that one already. But yeah, I just wanted to just pointing out the Osa banner. It is something EnemyGG's been playing a lot. They've also been playing quite a bit of Drow strats if they can pick them up. Having the Osa band out may make them feel like they can easily go for the Enchantress. And the other cute little thing there is Banana Slam Jammer has the Alpine Osa set. He's been rocking that. So I imagine you want to get as many games in as possible with that bad boy on.
I mean, that just makes sense, really. That's
just
good
smart.
Dota playing right there.
So Invoker going to DC though. Resolutions Invoker pretty damn good.
Seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's interesting that they've left in, there's a couple heroes there still floating around, like the Lone Druid's still there. I know that they've done that quite a few times actually for DC, so could be an option if they want to hand that over the Bulba. Of course, the Beastmaster, probably his biggest one, I think. And the last one, Clockwork's dead, so he's kind of moved on. He's got himself a new buddy. And then it's just like the Brood, really.
So I actually expect Brood banned next round. That's kind of how everybody seems to be doing the business when it comes to Brood. For Enemy, they have been picking Beastmaster, only pushing lineups, but also just Beastmaster, a really strong hero this patch. Kind of one of the few heroes in Dota right now who can just kind of rock brown broods and still get a massive amount of work done just by rushing that Necro.
Yeah, in recent times he's proved pretty versatile as well. You can throw him in the jungle with the Iron Talon. Is pretty important to keep in mind, just in case. Like, it can happen. Teams have been going, a little bit greedier ever since Enigma kind of became pretty top tier at Shanghai. Showed off a lot of potential, not just in the fact that more teamfight lineups have come back. It did also result in a little bit more greed. So, like, we saw some Dooms coming out. We saw the Iron Talon Beastmaster make an appearance. So it's kind of like exactly like the Venge. It adds a lot of versatility in your draft, and you never really know where they're going to go with it.
And speaking of not knowing where they're gonna go with it, Phoenix coming up. It could be off lane, but it's probably with how Dota's been trending recently, a support Phoenix coming out here.
Yeah, more than likely. It's good up against early push, so seeing the Beastmaster and the Vengeful Spirit might have been something that kind of put it on their mind. But one thing that's left, well, obviously it's good against the Lone Druid, but one thing it's not too good against would be the Slark, which is kind of one of those BSJ heroes that not only made a great showing at Shanghai, but it's something that you can kind of bring into the mix up against the Phoenix. I believe MVP Phoenix, well, that's funny. Yeah, MVP Phoenix did the Slark up against the Phoenix, and so he would just kind of siege high ground, back out, regen up, and go right back in.
Radiant team ban.
Now, another thing I wanted to point out, for EnemyGG, they're already out of this tournament. There's no way for them to get back into it. But for Digital Chaos and later Elite Wolves who play today, every single game matters. Basically, those two are tied for first, and they will be playing against each other later today. But of course, if DC drops a game here, they'll be in a worse position.
Oh, so they're just kind of playing spoiler here for EnemyGG then, are they?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy they played it out. We have 3 matches today, all of which don't matter for, 2 of which don't matter for one of the teams involved, But I think it's really good that they play it out. And also, just some rumors floating around in the North American scene. Because of Shanghai and so on, it's been really hard to get scrims. So I wouldn't be surprised if teams are like, hey, at least we have officials, let's get some Dota done.
Yeah, makes sense. Last ban, they're going to take out the rest of the Wombo combo. I'm alright with that. Get rid of the Tide, get rid of the Void. Good synergy up with the Phoenix, and speaking of which, that Enigma, he is still there, but we saw a couple teams do Enigma Phoenix. I was surprised, because Phoenix you would think to be maybe one of those greedier supports, but honestly, just Max Sunray has proved to be effective enough on its own that you don't even have to be so worried about that whole Midas into Egg, so you can get the higher levels. It's all about that Sunray, man.
Yeah, that thing is doing mad work, as you talked about. Just
10
that pure
seconds
damage,
remaining.
really painful for enemy. As you said, they can
5
still push.
seconds
They can go
remaining.
for some other strat. The Chen is also still out. I think maybe
Reserve
DC
time.
assuming there isn't space for it, but enemy actually run a lot of Chen.
Yeah, I mean, Enchantress is still there as well, so if they maybe wanted to grab that instead, only because if you go Chen, then they'll go Enchantress, and then it's kind of just like, oh crap, like it's kind of one of those annoying situations where she just kind of grabs your creep. And all right, well, it looks like it might just be a little bit more push, you know. Also good up against the Invoker in the mid, so.
Yeah, now for enemy, this is looking like some real classic business of theirs. I've actually seen a draft recently of theirs where they finished this draft up with a Drow and a Chen, and it hits hard super early. Your towers are gone, your heroes haven't come online. You know, your Phoenix might not even have a level 6 when they're knocking on your tier 3s. But hopefully for Digital Chaos, if they win the laning phase, obviously a push strat isn't going to work. And for enemy, they might want something more flexible, because if they go all in on this push strat, it's a best of one. It doesn't have space to work after about the 30-minute mark.
10 seconds.
Yeah, it's true.
remaining.
At least for now, they still have, you know, like the Vengeful Spirit. It
5
might not be a
seconds
core. It could be
remaining.
moved over to that support position. To me, it kind of feels like a core right now, only because of like the whole potential
Reserve
synergy that they've got
test.
working with, and
Yeah.
well, they will grab said
Radiant
Enchantress, so
team pick.
it is nice for them. The question is, do you feel like going for like a Chen to kind of counter against that? Do you want to go for the Enigma to add in a little bit of your own greed? Or are you just so set on just like this being a support Phoenix and this being, I would assume, like kind of that 4 role supporting Tusk who's going to be helping on the mid lane, combo up with the Invoker, and just
You
go
say
into like a magic based or attack speed core?
You say greedy with the Enigma, but I actually think in this
10
game so
seconds
far,
remaining.
enemy doesn't have amazing ways of punishing it. Yes, Beastmaster could send the Hawk in to try and get
5
an idea of what's
seconds
happening in
remaining.
the jungle, but Enchantress probably going to have other things she needs to do in that lane, and going in to
Reserve
deal
time.
with an Enigma blind into the jungle, it's going to be the Brood
Dire
because she wasn't
team
banned out
ban.
though, but going into deal with an Enigma in the jungle kind of blind with only the Hawk vision against a Tusk and an Enigma, I think is a really risky business. Add a Broodmother into this, and suddenly enemies' lanes, I mean, Venge +1, maybe they can try to put the Beastmaster against her? How
10
do you deal with
seconds
her?
remaining.
I don't know. It's pretty surprising it gets that far, honestly. Especially when Bulba's
5
drafting. Like we
seconds
talked about at the very
remaining.
start. It's like Beastmaster, and then the next one that comes to mind for me immediately would be the Broodmother. So it's
Reserve
potential that
time.
they might think that they can kind of race it a little bit. The issue becomes, even if he has a somewhat decent start, like just the slightest okay time. Maybe he doesn't die, doesn't even get a kill though, but if he's doing all right in his lane and you leave to start your little bit of a group up in your push strategy, he's just going to be evenly trading with you like the whole way. And now you kind of have this pressure of like, all right, now do we go for like the hardcore Brood counter? Like, do we have to find something to match up with him against in lane? Do we go for like a bristle that now we're going to have to put our whole lineup around? It could work. Do we go for like the core axe? I saw it just in a game, I believe that was this morning, which is pretty fun. It's always a classic with the Tidehunter already being banned out here.
Yeah. Also, with the pickup of the Phoenix and the Invoker, the Enchantress isn't nearly as strong here. They have already got quite a bit of pure damage. And I just think it's interesting. I definitely feel like Digital Chaos, banning out the Elsa, knew that their opponents could pick up Enchantress easily. Sven gonna be what they next get rid of, so aware of the early push. And for enemy,
Yeah.
I'll be interested. I wouldn't. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say the typical pick here is just gyro. It's just like that's kind of like your default. If you like, let's say you have no reserve time left, I think you just like, oh, we'll just go gyro. But they're taking their time because I don't know if I feel so
10
comfortable with that, just because like the way that
remaining.
Tusk can get on top of you, the Phoenix Egg doesn't have the best range to help deal with it.
5 seconds
They're in a little bit of a
remaining.
pickle here.
Yeah, I think it's rough for
Reserve
enemy. They
time.
might just go back to something comfortable. They may still go for the Drow. I'm not kidding when I said they've been running that a lot.
Oh yeah,
It's
for sure.
something. I think they played it all through the 2 open qualifiers. But Ember, okay,
Radiant
they're
team pick.
they want to deal with those brood babies.
Yeah, that's nice too. It gives a little bit more versatility towards their draft. It's not nearly as like push centered as it kind of started out with. Like it's come a lot more back towards, you know, they have a nice pentagon. This was a Dota profile. It would be looking okay for EnemyGG. They got a couple different win conditions with the quotes around it, as to with these timings in the game that they still have an opportunity where you can be ahead, you can continue to farm up the map and create some paths to victory for yourself. But at the same side, it's really the same for DC. Just because you have a Broodmother doesn't necessarily mean that you want to take it late or take it that early. It's still a versatile hero that works very uniquely in how it dominates lanes. But okay, that's a little bit later though. AUI carry, yes, all right, it's happening. Please don't swap out. This is awesome.
So excitement there. This is going to be some big, interesting changes coming up. Now, I don't know if this is kind of permanent or something that they're trying out for this game. This is a best of one, and as we talked about, this game matters a lot for DC. NMEGG can't qualify at all, but for DC, they still need every single point to try and beat out Elite Wolves. So while it seems like an excellent time to try new things, I wouldn't say you just throw it away on, letting one of your players play carry if they want, so.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's, players get to try out a few things. It's always interesting that players don't tend to swap roles, even though as metas evolve and as patches change, obviously, as we go from one to the next, certain roles become far more important than others. Like, there's certain patches where the offlane just is way more important than it is in other patches, and sometimes I think maybe in a team where you're not so super top tier 1, that could create issues where if your best player is on a role that's not as relevant anymore, is it time to make that sort of a switch? Like, with the way that MMR is grinded by so many pro players and like how that's such a big part of being a professional Dota player right now, you are going to be well versed in a lot of different roles, and if that means swapping to something that's going to be more valuable towards your team because you're simply the highest skilled player, to me that makes a lot of sense, even though we don't see it that much.
I think it's a little more complicated than that. Obviously, there is some viability with role switching. I think that was actually what played a bit of a part in how OG was so successful at Frankfurt, right? They have a lot of flexibility in where they could lane their heroes. It makes drafting against them more difficult. It also made... also, I can hear your background noises, by the way.
Yeah, no, that was just... sorry about that.
I was just checking, because, yeah. But I think that helps out your team, being flexible. But then when it comes to certain things, like your 4 and 5 position, right? Just things like how the 4 and the 5 play throughout the course of a game is very different than each other. So I don't know how viable it is to say, hey, maybe our best player's on the 5, but the 4 has more impact, but 4 and 5 are super different roles, even though to most people it's just both support. I don't know whether that works beyond off lane and like mid, where maybe those players have a lot of experience in single lanes, Yeah,
it's definitely, I mean, it's going to be about just the comfort of your players and... Also, what's very uncomfortable right now for Flying Zebra is that he's got a Tusk in his favorite spot to be. So this is the perfect play. 1437, getting rid of that little offlane camp makes it much harder for her to rotate.
Also, your mouse clicks are coming in loud and clear. That would be...
Jeez, TeamSpeak, please.
Yeah, sorry about that. We probably just need to adjust the mic thresholds. We'll give them up packs a second there. No worries, first calls of the day. Just means the next ones will be more awesome. Sovereign having a bit of trouble. Already had his ball killed and a nice shards block, although MSS takes a lot of damage there. Not really where he wants to be. So he's gonna take a bit more damage than Sovereign. And meanwhile, in mid, it does look like Resolution a little bit low on CS, but the wave is pushing under his tower, so he should be able to catch up here.
All right, we're just gonna hope that that's gonna do a little bit better. It's all right. Everything's gonna be fine, guys.
Either way, Bulba is not really getting pushed out of top lane. We talked about this. It's really tough to deal with a Brood in lane.
Well, I mean, you have the Ember Spirit for sure. So as those levels get up and he kind of has the Flame Guard, he can help deal with the Spider. But Bulba's just not even bothered with them. He's just gonna zone out Frozen, try and get rid of some of his regen. And eventually moving into the jungle, just the fact that you have an Enchantress, it's a little bit greedier. She's farming up rather than pressuring the lanes. You don't have this whole tri-lane against the Brood where you just totally get destroyed early on.
So hopefully they will be able to get some levels on BSJ, otherwise Bulba may just end up running away with this game. In bottom lane, Aoi 9 CS, also mid has become tied up, so I'm not sure that we're going to see any early kill action unless it's from Bulba, because Enchantress, she's being forced over into a jungle. I don't see this offlaner Sovereign getting zoned too much. He's actually bringing a lot of hurt onto MSS. Snowball in onto him. And can we land a beautiful ice shot? Oh, 1437 there with the block. The Phoenix Ball unable to hit, but the Icarus dive forward, slowing down Sovereign. They should have the auto attacks here, and I spoke too soon. Should be able to get that first blood. Flying Zebra coming around to see what he can get. Hadoken should be available on this Zeta Tormented. Doesn't even need it. And there we go with the return kill.
Alright, well, we finally get a little bit of action breaking out here. The benefit, of course, it's not really hindering any either of the carries, and it kind of seems like when you have the Enchantress, that's kind of the whole idea, is that you want to be putting a little bit of pressure down there. Honestly, it all comes back to so much about this block. The fact that this camp's not here, it just gives so much space to AUI right now. It's so much harder for them to actually just like show up and pressure, because Beastmaster's great in a dual lane. Like someone showing up, working together with the boar. Jeez, man, Slayer is just like in there against Resolution.
Yeah, I think really doing a good job there in the mid lane. I'm not sure that I was expecting Slayer to have as much success since Resolution is a more skilled mid player. But I'm also not sure if Resolution is still playing on a much larger ping, so perhaps that's a factor. But Slayer, really good showing here. And hopefully that'll continue on, because as we talked about, up in this top lane, BSJ is getting farm, but bo1, once he hits that level 5, he starts to get really scary.
Yeah, that's true. Get all those points going up in the Flame Guard. You know, start burning down your little spiderlings, and then we might get the rotation over from the Enchantress. And so far, they're going to smoke them ahead to the mid lane.
This is not the angle of approach, though. They're going to have to wrap all the way around. Their smoke should be able to... Oh, no, they're going for it. There's actually another smoke coming in. Well, just movement coming in. There it is. Roll in. Tornado comes out. Slayer in a lot of trouble. Trying to walk it off. Is slowed up. Now taking a few tower hits. But they're going to get the kill on 1437. Can they find Phoenix as well? Not looking like it. A messy team fight.
Alright. Hopefully we'll try and fix some of that up there. It's okay, guys.
Are you okay there, Moppax?
I think so. Is it working now? We living?
I hope so. I hope we're living. Okay. Sorry, guys, about the tech issues. We have casted together before, and it just seems like just some settings issues. Resolution going in with the cold snap. They should be able to get stunned up, but Slayer maybe taking so much damage there. EMP will not... Oh, the tornado off the mark. One more hit onto Slayers would do the trick, but Resolution invoke not on CD, so Slayer gonna get on out. And again, both supports being forced to this mid lane. I don't know if that's where you want them, right?
Yeah, I guess as long as they're keeping anyone alive, they're gonna be pretty happy here. There's not that much that you can do with the Broodmother. bo1's just like, just stay away from me, you know? Let me do my own thing. So just keep drawing as many heroes as you can from the dire side in the mid lane, and life should be good. But AUI, you can tell, it's just like, guys, please, I need you.
Yeah, he's actually still farming okay. He's got 12 denies and 27 lost hits, so it's not as bad as it could be just against that solo Beastmaster, but now he's getting really harassed out with the Enchantress using that Seta Tormentor, and that creep is a real pain. While on the other hand, Banana Slime Jam is actually occasionally getting creeps from this Flame God. Baby spiders, can he find some more? Not quite.
Yeah, it's always hard, obviously, as a Broodmother, try and not feed away too much, but at the same time, you understand that some of them are going to die, right? It's not like you can not feed any spiders. You're just kind of trading like so much harass. Ideally, as long as you get enough regen for how many spiders are dying, you're going to be okay with what's going on.
Yeah. So, will be wandering around in bottom. I think that it's worth their time to try to set something up onto Sovereign, but you know, Beastmaster notoriously super hard to kill, and with Enchantress backing him up, they may just have to play onto tower here.
Well, as the tornadoes whirl their way in here, what sort of a play do they have? They kind of have, like, your Tusk, obviously he's ready. He's only level 3. Points in the ice shards, one in the snowball. There's not that much they can do quite yet, but AUI is almost up to level 6. So when the Haunt comes out, you definitely have some possibilities for the rotations. Like even into the mid lane, if the supports were to head there, suddenly your Spectre shows up, and you can turn those Haunt ganks into a push potential.
Yeah, Aoi actually taking so much harassment. He tries to go hide under the trees to salve up. Talking game plans, because we haven't talked too much about it. Obviously, Enemy, they're rocking an Ember Spirit, a hero who doesn't come online as early as maybe the rest of their lineup. If you're them, do you try to wait for Ember, or do you just go? Since you do have an Enchantress, a Death Prophet, both can push down towers. Actually, Resolution, not gonna fall. Getting very low though in mid.
It's kind of like, Ember is obviously great with the Battle Fury, and up against the Broodmother, it's pretty likely we're going to end up seeing it like come out here. But honestly, he offers so much to a team fight with just like a magic wand and a bottle, really. Like he can just show up in any sort of a battle. He can use the remnants to add a lot of damage. You know, that classic triple remnant that just shows up. So if he wants to look to get aggressive, if it's going to match the timing of your Enchantress and your Beastmaster, who it probably will, because he's having a pretty good time down here, there's certainly no reason he won't show up.
Oh, nice Icarus dive, and there it is. The Haunt comes out. Slayer in a lot of trouble now. Cold Snap, bring you down. There it is. Sunray helping out get that kill, and they have finally found themselves something in this mid lane. Resolution getting some space.
Radiant's top tower.
Yeah, it came out at a good time too, and it looked like Aoi was going to be like way too pressured bot, so yeah, he wouldn't be able to defend this anyway, and they can transition that into a kill, but it certainly looks like they're going to end up losing this.
Yeah, Bulbo coming in for an early rotation. This is not usually what we see Broodmothers do.
Middle tower is under attack.
It's, I don't know, he's kind of one of those bigger Brood players that are still left. A lot of people kind of moved off the hero, so it looks like he spotted some sort of a moment where this is going to be really viable for his team. You can see the pressure there applying.
Oh, and Banana Slam Jammer forced a Remnant out on top lane. And, oh, Slayer trying to actually come in and stop this tower from going down, but there is no hope, and first tower looking like it's going to be going down for them. Oh, Slayer actually trying to be pressuring Bulba here. Slayer in a lot of trouble fighting 2v1. Will he get the kill on Resolution? He manages to walk away. Bulba still thinking about coming in, but dusted up. This will be a dead spider.
Yeah, Bulba hanging around pretty long there considering he didn't have the ultimate. A little bit surprising. He's building right into that Orchid as well, so you can tell that max spider thing's it's going to pay off.
Up top, Aoi showing just how strong that Desolate can be. No points in Dispersion yet, actually. Just maxing that Dagger and the Desolate, deciding that he's going to bring some hurt to Banana Slim Jammer.
Yeah, it's nice in two ways. Not only does it help for these situations where he's dodging the big push coming out from like that Beastmaster and the Enchantress that he saw bottom, because I mean, really, how's Dispersion going to help anyway? He only wants to be there when he's outnumbering. Like he's not really like man fighting all that much now. And of course, the big benefit is just the fact that it works while you're farming. Yeah, it's so solid when you can burst down those smaller creeps first and then work on the bigs.
Leia in the mid lane in a lot of trouble. Snowball, and there's no way out here. Death Prophet gonna go down. Flying Zebra trying to help on out. Not working so much. I'm actually going to give you a call on Skype because it looks like we're having some TS problems. So let me close that one out and I'll get right back. Hopefully, guys, this will fix some of the audio issues that we're having there. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Oh wait, I was about to say I probably have Skype muted because I think things sound better. Hopefully it won't pick up stuff and we'll be good to go. So for enemy, you know, it's pretty even all across the board. I was actually expecting this Bulba to do a lot better in the top lane as Broodmother. Although he is, you know, top of the net worth chart since a bunch of people are clustered.
Yeah, I think he just saw the fact that BSJ obviously has the big points in the Flame Guard now. He doesn't want to... At that point, you are just going to be feeding Spiderlings. Like, he can just Remnant on top of them and there's nothing you're going to be able to do. So, move out of the lane, apply pressure elsewhere. It's going to give more space to BSJ, but in the end, you're just going to hurt yourself if you stay up there with all the spiders.
Yeah, really nice counter there. And in the meantime, Bulba's transitioned into the jungle, getting ready to have that Orchid. He's good portion of it done, but now farming their jungle, maybe going to set up shop, pushing that bottom lane. While Slayer getting ready to get that Yules up.
Alright, well, it's just like so poor. I guess this is kind of what Tusk has become.
It's really interesting. Tusk has fallen off a lot as a hero that we were seeing, and so I was a little bit surprised they picked it here, just because he's super unpopular right now.
I think the benefit that he has is, he believe it or not, he does have some advantages over Earth Spirit. Now, well, first off, I mean, Earth Spirit's almost always going to be banned out, but one thing is that while you are snowballing in, you are invulnerable, so it is pretty solid for getting on top of somebody like the Death Prophet, or sometimes you'll see it up against the Invoker as well, just because you don't have like a cold snap or something hopping on top of you while you're trying to get in there. Like, obviously heroes like Spiritbreaker or Night Stalker, they can be stopped, they can be stunned, whereas the Snowball, it doesn't really allow for that.
Yeah, and with that, it looks like... Okay, so enemy are going for a little bit of a push on top. They actually smoked bottom into their own jungle for DC. They're trying to find someone out here, but a kind of an interesting smoke timing, considering that they didn't have good vision of the rest of the Dire lineup. And now enemy, they're just pushing this one. They've got Exorcism, Baby Spiders or no, a nice Ice Shard doing a bit of damage. There comes the Haunt, the Tornado, it's gonna manage to hit two of them. Snowball still going further forward, it's gonna end up landing next to Frozen. Walrus Punch comes out, and there it is. The Stun Ray doing a lot of damage. 1437 will go down, and Primal Roar takes out the Phoenix. Banana Slam Jammer, though, does not have any more Flame Guard, and Sovereign getting low. Spider Spit gonna finish him off. Aoi, can he be found? Yep, the Spirits are gonna see you, and Slayer getting out with a slither of health. Enemy are taking this team fight.
Oh man, that's kind of the disaster. Feeding some kills over to this Ember Spirit and taking these engagements. This is one of those things about having a broodmother, right? Like, she's the big leader of your team. She's 800 gold above next highest person, but just naturally, like, you always are going to be building into something a little bit bigger, like the Orchid or heading into the Necrobook or something. But for now, he's just like a mana regenerating bootless spider.
Yeah.
And he doesn't offer all that much in terms of these team fights. So maybe like you feel like as a team you might be ahead, but you get into a situation where Exorcism is just so strong right now. Ember's at one of those power points that, yeah, he doesn't have any big items, but he's still terrifying. Like, the magic damage he applies is insane.
Additionally, these early engagements being favorable for BSJ, he is way ahead, 6k net worth at 13 minutes in. Oh, as I say that though, he's gonna get silenced up and looking like he's being brought down. Goodbye, Ember Spirit. A huge kill for DC, and one they really needed. Because I was about to say, he's already got bots, and he was working on that Battle Fury.
Yeah, and this is really huge. The fact that he's gone for the bots, you're taking 2,000 gold away from the Battle Fury, which means 2,000 gold away from a Manta style. And Bulba having this Orchid reveal now come out, like, certainly they saw it coming, like, they saw the items that were in its inventory, but the fact that it's done now, it means BSJ has to be a lot more careful. He essentially can't really wander into webs anymore, right?
Dire structures.
There's other problems with it too, right? By not going the drums build up or even having an Aquila or something, because BSJ has naked. Oh, so he has the Aquila. He doesn't have drums or anything for a little bit more tankiness. He is going to be really squishy. Rushing that Battle Fury before a Manta means he will be also still super squishy, although better able to deal with all of the broodlings. It's scary.
Yeah, and Spectre's not exactly, you know, the hero it used to be. You already got the phase, you got the drums up. Anyway, maybe he goes back for like a Radiance. He's a little more old school. Oh, looks like T-Dun's in trouble. He's a little bit surrounded here.
Yeah, they are diving super deep. Searing Chain's going to come out. MSS now, Primal Roar, isn't able to get off that ult. No mana for it. Haunt comes out. Frozen taking a lot of damage, but it looks like, oh no, I lied. I thought they had good coverage. Actually, they canceled TP from Aoi. Now he gets Searing Chain stuff. EMP gonna get coverage for all of them. Frozen should go down here, but a lot of people not making up their minds there. And Bulba still trying to chase. Searing Chain, Sleight of Fist gonna stop him. They're actually trying to get the kill off onto Bulba. Axis comes out. He's trying to move away, but no, the last impetus shot will kill him. And this is not looking great for DC. Not the dominant performance we normally see when they face up against enemy.
Yeah, a lot of scattered plays coming out right here. Not exactly clear what they're trying to get done. The TPs, like, that didn't seem like something worth salvaging or trying to make any sort of attempt on. It's not like they expended a lot of resources just simply killing off a Tusk under a tier 2, right? Like, was there really any sort of a counterplay there? Maybe if the, like, everyone got fire spirited and there was an egg. I don't even know if then. It's only 5 attacks right now.
Yeah. Also, well, Phoenix does end up picking up Robo the Magi, but obviously Phoenix here has a lot of trouble getting all of their spells off. So maybe that played a part, you know, TPing in and then trying to egg. You don't always have enough mana depending on where you were coming from. But obviously for Enemy, this is off to a good start. And I really want to stress that Enemy has a really bad win rate versus DC. DC kind of has their number.
Oh, I actually didn't. Do you know what it is? It must be pretty low.
I don't want to say it's none, but for a while there, it was none. You know, they had not managed to win a game against DC. So
yeah, it's tough being in the NA scene, you know. It seems like you've kind of got quite a few of the bigger names and obviously bigger talents all stacked up on a single team, but Enemy have been kind of sticking it out for a while, and I don't know, they've been pretty impressed with a couple of cups they've been in.
Yeah, they also recently qualified for Epicenter through that big open bracket, which is always, or qualified to the qualifiers. So that's always a good thing to see. Now, for this support Phoenix, how would you like to see him be built?
Well, we've been seeing a little bit of, like, Aether Lenses, I believe is what Jerax was going, just purely for boosting the damage of the Sunray. It's not like a lot of heroes where you're looking at for the range. It's just about damage. Obviously, it's, I mean, yeah, you get a bigger dive, and I guess it probably increases the range of Sunray. It's kind of weird on some of those spells, but the main issue just being boost that damage. It's a lot of instances, blah, blah, blah. It appears he's looking towards a Veil, which is also really solid. Probably one of the better heroes on the team to pick it up right now. Going to be helping out the Invoker, helping out the general spells that are being thrown out from 1437 as well. So I'd be okay with that. It gives really good stats, honestly.
Yeah, Veil, very cheap for all of that int. It's super cost effective, and also the health regen, right, on a Phoenix, someone who uses has a couple of spells which are like, hey, let me trade my life for Ire or whatever. But they're smoked up again on DC, trying to find something. They're not super far behind, 2,000 net worth deficit, but I'm sure they can feel it. And Especially here for Resolution does end up going back to the mines. You got that kind of late. They're actually going to catch them out. Okay, this is just the end for these enemy heroes. Even with Untouchable, Flying Zebra will be brought down. And what was that rotation?
That was this ward lying just because they were invis and smoked up, and enemy not quite knowing what was going on there, so they end up getting a feeding a little bit of pick off there. Somewhat unfortunate because they felt secure, right? They have this nice vision in the mid. They're like, all right, Spectre's there. They're probably camping behind her, and suddenly you wander in the jungle to try and set something up with your Beastmaster down on Bulba, and you're like, oh. Alright, it turns out they're here, guys.
Yep, and you have to be careful. Aoi, he's already got 3,000 gold saved up. Working towards that Radiance, it looks like. Certainly going to be something that helps knock out the Flame God, but in the meantime, MSS taking a lot of damage from creeps. BSJ just almost brought down that Phoenix solo. Oh, and he's gonna get the loss in the tower. There will be a snowball in, but no Walrus Punch soon enough for the Remnant away.
Alright, so let's see it now. He's sitting on that Perseverance.
Oh, okay, he actually hastens, gets silenced up, and I think this will be the end of this engagement. But again, a lot of movements on both sides, as if players aren't quite able to make up what they want to do.
Well, decisions made now for enemy. They're even gonna expend the Exorcism for this.
I think it's the right play. They need to do it fast. I think, obviously, with not only the spiders coming over, but they have to have some idea that, hey, we just all TP'd bottom, there's nothing to push, where else could we be going?
Yeah, they're gonna see MSS coming in, though. They know the counterplay's coming.
And look at those 4 baby spiders gone. They actually get the Aegis. It's already up onto Ember. Primal Roar comes out onto Resolution. He is going to be able to invoke a spell here. Here comes the Phoenix. The egg goes out. Do they have the auto attack? They're not attacking it. Nobody's focusing that egg, and it looks like it should explode. One more hit, unable to get it from Flying Zebra. That goes off, but it's not going to be enough there. And that is going to be a huge big team fight in favor of DC, finally getting themselves one. Flying Zebra still being chased down there. Aoi gonna be going after him, but they won't be able to catch the Untouchable dead. Yeah.
Man, that egg. That's oh, that's the Necro run. I think he's living. He's got the move speed here. Bulba's here to save the day. It's okay. All right.
Got him.
No, that was crazy. He did hit a ton of fire spirits. It's so hard to tell though, just because they're all kind of burning to the fire at the same time. But even with the aura from the Beastmaster, it just looks like they couldn't quite get it. So perfectly placed egg. It turns out to be the fact that you've got the Invoker there while the egg's running as well does really help, right? Because you can control up some people, ensure they can't attack. And MSS setting it all up there, showing the power of that Phoenix. No Sunray required.
And I think also they get the tower, unable to get the deny there on enemy. This is usually what we see happening, just slight outplay coming out there from DC. Also, of course, that got Aoi up the relic, maybe even the whole hog? No, just the relic on the way to him. But he's only 1,000 gold away from having that Radiance up, and considering what a pain that bottom lane was, really impressive farming coming out there.
Yeah, it's a little unusual to be going back towards the Radiance, right? It's not exactly the most common thing these days. Obviously, pretty big impact coming in from Badman. It transitioned into the pro scene as well. But once he didn't have the urn, you know, it kind of makes you wonder, like, oh, I guess he's not going for the more typical and not going to be going into the diffusal. It's going to help out, just with the general right clicks coming out from Flying Zebra as well. Definitely not going to want to be picking up an MKB anytime before, like, 40 minutes or something like that. So it's unlikely anyone's going to be helping to deal with the Radiance burn, and then really what's left is, I guess, some sort of physical defense of their own, right? For the side of DC, you're dealing up against Exorcism, a lot of physical damage just coming out from the general aura from the Vengeful Spirit, the aura from the Beastmaster. I'd like to see, because they don't even have, I don't think, right? They don't have a mech, so a few components still missing here, and it will be the Veil for MSS, so at least he's helping himself out.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, as you said. They're on 437 probably going to end up being their mech carry, but it's going to take a while. He also has a bracer up, so maybe going to be a second set of drums, so that after the first set is out of charges, they can have another to buff up their pushes. There comes Slayer going in with the Exorcism. They do have an egg at the ready, but Invoker pushing top Bulba, just making more baby creeps. Has to be careful here. A Crypt Swarm may just kill them all. No, it's trying to get the deny. Will be unable to. And with that, nice, easy tier 2.
It just doesn't quite feel like they're ready to push and, you know, and fight into them, and there's no surprise. You're waiting for the Radiance. Don't take a risky fight right now. Get that up first, and the more enemy can push right now, obviously, the better position they're going to be in, as they can get as many objectives as they can before that does end up happening. But they're on a pretty big timers. Every single time they want to be using Exorcism for that a little bit of safety. Looks like the initiation mid.
Yeah, they're going for the roll in onto Slayer. Oh, the ice shot should be able to block her out, but she moves so fast. Invoker coming in as well. Resolution should be able to help them get this. Yules comes out. Where is the rest of her team's backup? Frozen gonna come in. Can he get? Nope, nothing he can do at all. And with that, Death Prophet goes down. And I mean, it's rough here being a Death Prophet. A lot of teams have figured out how to play around her, how to burst her down, and there's more AoE coming out. Is the Radiant Slide? Yes, it is, and they're going to actually just finish off Sovereign. Frozen managing to walk away, though, does have an Urn Charge up on him, but the heal from Flying Zebra, will it be enough? AoE thinking about going for it, but they're going to back on out. Take the safe place. Sleight of Fist, Searing Chains, does manage to hit on 1437. And BSJ, he does have a Battle Fury, but not quite the damage to back it up yet. Going for a play again there. Resolution just auto-attacking him. Look at the chunk of damage coming out of him.
Tower is under attack.
Man, that was so well played by DC, honestly. Like, having that ward up, they played it so cool, as if that ward was not there. Like, totally pretending the Venge wasn't there until they had that nice initiation right there from Resolution, going in with the Haunt at the exact same time. That was some impressive stuff. The synergy's back, you know. Early game, we were kind of talking about how it didn't seem like they quite had it going on the right, you know, kind of path there. But it's coming together now. You got your Radiance, all the tools are available. And
they are playing with a stand-in. There's not you can't underestimate like whether it is something that they're actually trying out for a roster shuffle or not. And I'm sure these players have played together, but there's a big difference between playing with your regular guy and a stand-in, even if it's someone you're trying out new. So maybe it just took them a little bit of a while to get on the same page. Either way, Enemy, they still do have strong group up, and that's what they're going for again. Can DC get the team fight they want here? They got Fire Spirits coming out from that Phoenix. Exorcism is popped. And again, Resolution just pushing that top lane. Not wanting to be involved in this at all.
I mean, look at MSS, he's like, I got this, you know.
Yeah, he's actually, until they all got eaten, he was doing a really good job of defending with those babies. God coming out, and it should just be another clean tower, although considering the Resolution up there solo gets the trade, pretty good for them. Exorcism's gonna be down. They're gonna try to go into that fight knowing Exorcism should be coming off soon. Slayer, they're diving deep for him, but 1437 already taking a lot of damage, and the Phoenix Egg actually put way in the back line, trying to give them some sort of retreat. Horn comes out from AoE, but Resolution taking a lot of damage from the ball. Ball will silence up as well. MSS is back, throwing out wall balls, and this should be the chase down that they have here. Flying Zebra on the back lines, but Veil comes out, and she is gonna burn down. It looked like such a good setup for Enemy.
Yeah, that was a solid display of what Phoenix and Tusk can provide you. Like, they're a little bit slower in the mid game, but one thing that's been missing quite a bit, honestly, lately, in a lot of professional squads and teams, is that we've kind of moved into so much of a team fight meta and so much of a pushing meta where you're all grouping up, staying together, buying lots of auras. A lot of these catch heroes have kind of come and passed. Like, obviously, you know, Clockwork's one that really comes to mind when you think about going after somebody as they're escaping from an objective. But you just saw, like, just using the snowball, just using the dive, the way they can position a team fight that's advantageous as the Exorcism's ending. Enemy weren't ready for it. I mean, BSJ had already started TV out. Now he's ready to come in, and they just took that fight from DC. So got to be a little bit more cautious, it seems, as they're going to be for, you know, actually retreating from these pushes.
And as you mentioned, just playing perfectly around those timings, knowing that the Exorcism was coming off of cooldown. Also a good team fight to take, knowing that the Aegis was down, had gone down a bit before that fight. So just good engagements all around. So DC gonna start pulling towards a lead. And I mean, they have Spectre, Broodmother, and Invoker all way above the Death Prophet who's coming up next. Not to mention the Beast Monster who, actually goes for the blink over finishing more Necronomicon books.
Yeah, and this has to do, I think, with just Bulba, right? Because he's the one who's going to be building up this AC, which is going to be a humongous item right now for DC. The impact that it's going to have in every single one of these team fights, and just the fact that they don't really have that much natural catch. It's essentially just the Ember Spirit, but you need somebody to follow up because Ember won't be enough on his own. So this Blink Dagger allows them to get some sort of pickoffs, because they did draft a relatively team-heavy composition where they want to be pushing these objectives, and as you start going to high ground, you really want that initial pickoff first.
So for Enemy, they've got a smoke up. They could certainly try to find a pick here, but even with Hawk, their vision, they've got some in the Dire jungle, but all of this side of the map is dark, and they're not super sure where the heroes on DC are to go for a smoke game.
That's so tough, too. Like, if you want to start looking for AUI, you have to assume that the supports are going to always be, like, kind of nearby and lurking. Bulba, yeah, he might be on his own, but obviously he's very slippery, using the terrain to his advantage, and They really have some great initiation range. It's something that has kind of been reserved a lot for their Spirit players lately, but MSS can swoop in, the Tusk can kind of roll himself in. You have the save from the Roar too. There's just so many factors right now that are making this so much harder for Enemy than I think they might have expected.
Yeah, and obviously you mentioned that some of the heroes are very slippery. You've got the added issue of they can easily initiate back onto you with Haunt. Maybe you try to catch out the Phoenix, the egg goes off, buys time for the rest of DC to come in, even if the egg does end up dying. It's a very difficult team to go in for single pickoffs on, just due to how Spectre works, and unfortunately, as the game progresses, goes more and more in favor of this Spectre.
Yeah, now the question kind of becomes, like, what can they do to actually break into some sort of a high ground here? They're going to have the 10-second BKB on Slayer, which should be one of the tools that'll be, you know, a little bit new.
And
so
on Banana Slam Jammer, he also went for BKB as opposed to the Monta.
Yeah, so this is a really big timing for them, and they are grouping up a bit here mid. It's going to be so hard to force the issue, though. Like, they have an Invoker and a Broodmother. We're just going to be splitting these waves, not to mention a Radiant Spectre, which is something that, you know, these Diffusal Spectres haven't been quite as good at pushing out these side lanes. And it's easy peasy for AUI, just sends the illusions down from the Manta.
Yeah, really good timing on that one. So they're moving around. They're gonna smoke up. I don't believe Vision saw any of that, and so maybe they'll find something. They should know that's an AoE illusion. It's like they're just gonna try to go for the jungle. They really, I think the last thing they saw was Vision of AoE here, and maybe that's where they're gonna try for, but AoE just TPs away, and it doesn't look like Enemy are gonna find anything here.
They know they have to force the issue because of all this split push, but it's just so damn hard. Even with the Hawk providing this vision, the wards that they've had, it seems like the game sense from DC is there, but oh, AUI, so close.
Oh, they're gonna go for it. Going in onto AoE. They have the Primal Roar. There's gonna be a bots in. Oh no, what just happened there? AoE, they're still trying to attack him down. Sovereign already taking a lot of damage. AoE gonna be repositioned back. They will get the kill on him, but Enchantress down. Now here comes the Sunray going in on the backline. Did they lose 4 in this gank attempt? It was not worth it, and they do. Everybody except for BSJ going down, and only because he couldn't come into that fight.
We got him, guys. He's dead. We did it.
A almost 2k gold swing in favor of DC, despite losing the Spectre. And BSJ with only a BKB and a Battle Fury, I don't think he has the damage yet to defend high ground.
I love this for Bulba. You know, he's just understanding now that it's kind of their turn where they can start to group up. It's their decision now when lanes are pushed, when they want to group up and fight. So he just grabs the 30-minute Vlads, just buys it straight up. He's like, don't worry, poor supports. I will help you from this deathly exorcism and all these auras that they're coming out with.
Yeah, it's really nice to see someone, Bulba, obviously a very, very skilled player, but it's always nice to see players realize sometimes you need to go items for the game and not just kind of what's generally good on your hero. So really itemizing well, and they'll get this tier 2 easy peasy. Probably finish up the one in mid next and then high ground with the Aegis. There's just not many more options for Enemy unless there's a big overextension and BSJ gets a huge influx of gold.
Yeah, that's the big key right there. It has to be some massive play from BSJ. You know, you're getting into those crazy like crits, holding out the base eventually into kind of rapier territories. Essentially, like they might not be there yet, but they're closing in on it if they can't force and achieve some sort of pick off here just using their lineup. Because like the Agnum Scepter from Flying Zebra, that could just be one single team fight away, honestly. Same thing with like the final level, the Necros, the Mechanism finished on Frozen. They just need that one fight for a lot of big items. I just don't know if they're gonna get it.
Now speaking of big items, for Enemy, they can, I mean, you mentioned going Rapier on BSJ. I think there's still room, or space, time I guess is what I'm saying, for him to go the safer route to get up the crit stick.
Oh yeah, you need that first, for sure.
Yeah, but it might be something where they are looking like they may have to spend part of this game defending against supers in a lane, since the push will be coming out of DC soon. I do think Enemy's lineup will do well against that, though.
It's strong, but at the same time, they have one guy that can really D-push, and they have 3, like, super active split pushes on the side of DC. And now, mind you, that might end up creating some sort of a possibility for these ganks, right? Like, you can get this Blink Roar or something like that on. So that might be an opportunity they can actually jump up for Enemy, but if they play it right from DC, that really patient kind of slow roll just outside on that kind of the arc outside the base, it's going to be very difficult for solo BSJ to try and handle that.
Yeah. Phoenix working on her Shivas, and Banana Slam Jammer's illusions of just casually farming the jungle. Phoenix doesn't care. We actually have a snowball in deeper. I think 147. No, the horde comes out. Bulba going in, gonna manage to motor down Sovereign, and BSJ taking a lot of damage. He has actually run it back into the fight. He's gonna die. One more auto attack. Flying Zipper getting low tornadoed up in the air. She's gonna fall. Slayer the next one in the list, and now the only one alive, Frozen. They are chasing him down. Snowball in, and he is blown up. And this should easily be a Rax in bottom, maybe top 2.
Yeah, there's no buyback from the Death Prophet. No, she's not even close to taking over or anything like that. So, well, you mentioned they might have to spend part of the game with at least one lane of supers. Yeah, they're just going to call it.
Yeah, so Enemy, they are unable to take this one. This leaves DC, I believe, tied up with Elite Wolves, the team that they will be playing against next. And as we said, these matches super important for Elite Wolves and DC because there's only one spot who gets through to that land.
So I'm just going to take a look at that. So for the total standings then, how many more do they need for DC?
No, so now DC and Elite Wolves are now tied.
Right.
Next game is DC versus Elite Wolves. So,
Okay.
assuming that they both win all of their matches except, of course, the one